Hi guys, I wanted to come on here and talk about a couple things. I'm still debating on going live to deliver messages on a couple different formats, so I'm trying to work on that right now. Maybe Zoom, maybe Facebook, maybe YouTube. But I was thinking tonight I wanted to talk about something that I feel like could be helpful, connected to spirit communication. So first I wanted to talk about a lot of the times, first of all, spirit communicates with everybody. It's in the capacity that you're willing to trust the information that comes through, and also the feeling. The feeling body is really the intuition, and is really the first connector, at least for me, to be able to perceive them. So a lot of times what I've seen is people who, let's say, repress emotions in their daily life. It's harder for them to click in or allow spirit to move through them and communicate and be with them. Now, you'll still get information that you need to get, but I always say the real important part is feeling them, because that's where you can't deny what's happening. Anyways, so what I wanted to talk about was the healing process that spirit brings for us when someone, let's say, who has passed traumatically, or of illness, or just whatever, right? The healing process that comes along with grief. Tonight I kept thinking about how when Greg passed, he was ill, and he was my uncle. Most of you who follow me know that. He still is my uncle. He's one of my main spirit people. But when he passed, because of his illness, I kept connecting and seeing visually in my mind, almost toggling with how his last days were, or how his last months were. And I feel like this is a really important part about the grieving process and healing, which is, over time, when I realized that I was actually communicating with him, besides just missing him or being sad, trying to toggle through, acceptance, of his passing, that I originally first kept seeing pictures of him in my mind when he was ill. And so I always saw him on this chair that he would sit on in his bedroom. And it was sad for me because he was restricted in his own physical body, okay? And he was a lively person. So it was hard to watch a lively person go through a process where, almost to me, watching it felt like he was trapped inside himself. And so, anyways, there was a lot of trauma in my mind connected to watching him go through that. Also, I want to say, of course, there was a lot of peace in the process of watching him, because I also knew intuitively that something bigger than what I could see was happening with him. And there was multiple things that happened because of that, but that made me understand that. But really what I want to talk about is the trauma. So the visuals of my mind always going to the place of remembrance of where he was limited in his capabilities of life. And I remember with him, I got to a place where I was actually praying to God to take him, because it's just terrible to watch someone in illness, and any of you who have gone through that know. So there was peace for me in that too. But so what happened over time when I started to trust and understand that he was communicating with me was, slowly I went through the process of the different images. So at first I saw him restricted and in that chair, but over time I saw him on his boat. I saw him laughing. I could feel as I was on the boat with him. And so what happened was, this healing process started, that I allowed him to help aid me in showing me who he was and the freedom that he was in now, versus how I remembered him in the physical world at the end of life. Because lots of times what we're doing is, I feel like through our life, it's almost like a way that we feel to honor the person that we, always remember them. But I think oftentimes we get stuck on their challenges, or their, or the trauma, So anyways, I want to talk about the healing that comes with spirit when you allow and trust that spirit will bring you the pictures in your mind and the feelings connected to what they're trying to heal for you. And a lot of it comes, I talk about all the time, the surrender release process. It's a process of grieving. So allowing, whether it's crying or just feeling, allow yourself to feel that place with them, that memory that was sad. Spirit always says to me, you have to reveal it to heal it. So there's a part of going into that emotion, going into that memory and replaying it, but then allowing it to come up and a new memory take its place. And so slowly what's happened is that my people in spirit who, let's say, passed traumatically, or not even traumatically, but just say the grief, right? When we lose someone in the physical world, what I've done is developed relationships with them in the spirit world. So I've healed different aspects and processes of each person who was connected to me, who's passed already. And I've healed the part of how I see them now. And so I work with them in a different capacity where I feel them close to me. I feel them riding in the car with me. I feel them laughing. I feel them when the sun's shining on me. I feel them, right? So in the vibration of healed versus going to the mental space of trauma. And it doesn't happen overnight. It is a process. It took me probably, a good 2 or 3 years, maybe even longer than that, maybe 5 years, to really go through the grief process in stages and layers connected to Greg. And I think that, of course, it's always harder when you feel very connected to someone and tied to someone. That's always a deeper layer you have to go to. So anyways, I just wanted to come on here and talk about how, there's a process of healing. And there's still times, that I miss the physical aspect. Even being able to communicate with them in spirit doesn't change the grief factor of grieving who they were in the physical world. But what I'm saying is when you allow and trust and even set your intention for that process to take place, that spirit will provide what you need to see, and it won't happen overnight, but it's a process. And if you open yourself up to, okay, let me see what I need to see, let me feel what I need to feel, and allowing yourself to go into those spaces I say in communion with them, because it's just like when you go into prayer, whether you pray to God or the universe or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, when you sit in nature, when you feel connected in, it's the same way with your loved ones. It's no different. It's one and the same. So it's just the trust factor. And that's basically, I just want to talk about how I've healed aspects of who someone was in the physical world, and then in the capacity that I work with them in spirit now. And they do transform and change. And I say it's a good thing because they transform and change into their best selves. So if you can remember the best memory that you had with them in the physical world, that's the energy that they reside in with spirit. Every time Pap comes through, my grandpa, he always had this like childlike energy, and he would be very playful. He would come up behind my grandma and annoy her in the kitchen, things like that. That's the energy that he comes through with. He doesn't come through with, let's say energy that he was frustrated about something in the physical world. That's not how they connect. They connect into what is their highest self of your energy remembrance of them. That's how they come through for me. So anyways, I just felt to come on and share that, and I'll let you guys know when I decide to do some lives. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that looks like and how to do it. So I hope you all are well, and love you.